You ever wonder if your spot in the family, whether you're the oldest, the middle, or the youngest, gave you something more than just a specific role at the dinner table? Well, it turns out your birth order might actually be a hidden evolutionary advantage. We're talking about a survival strategy that was written into our biology thousands and thousands of years ago. So let's dive in and see just how deep these patterns really go.
To really get how deep this stuff goes, you have to look at these fascinating, almost spooky cases of twins who were raised apart. I mean, completely different families, different cities, sometimes even different countries. And yet, they often share the exact same fears, the same sense of humor, even wind up in the same jobs. That's not just some cute coincidence, right? That is biology, and it's a force running way deeper than almost anything your environment can throw at you.
And all of this leads to a pretty startling question. What if the basic patterns of your personality, your biggest strengths, and yeah, even your struggles, were kind of assigned to you at birth? What if your whole role in the family was decided long before you ever had a say in it? To find the answer, we have to look way past modern psychology and go way back. See, for most of human history, your position in the family wasn't just a dynamic, it was a survival role. It was a job, and it was absolutely critical to the success of the small, vulnerable groups we all used to live in. In those early human groups, these jobs were crystal clear. Think about it. When the parents were out hunting or gathering, the firstborn was the default guardian, the one in charge of the younger kids. The middle child, they were the diplomat, the one who kept the small group from falling apart. And the youngest, they were the innovators, the ones willing to try something totally new when the old ways just weren't working anymore. Every single one of those roles was essential.
Okay, so let's start with the ones who showed up first. The firstborns and, by extension, only children. They were the test run, right? They're the ones who carried all the weight of expectation and responsibility from day one.
And the result of this is, well, it's kind of staggering. Just look at this number. Of the first 29 astronauts NASA ever sent to space, a whopping 23 of them were either firstborns or only children. I mean, think about that for a second. Not half, the vast majority. That is not random. It's a pattern, and it points to a very specific set of traits that get forged by being first in line.
And the data backs this up in other ways too. Studies show that firstborns score, on average, about 3 IQ points higher than their younger siblings. But here's the thing, this isn't genetics. Nope. It's a result of getting thousands of hours of undivided parental attention early on. And then, and this is the crucial part, they become a teacher. When you have to explain something to a younger sibling, you're forced to get it on a much deeper level. It literally sharpens your thinking. But, this position comes with a pretty big trade-off. The advantage is clear. You get a tendency towards leadership, higher ambition, and that sharper thinking. Over half of all U.S. presidents were firstborns. But the cost, that's very real. The pressure is just immense. You learn how to perform before you ever learn how to rest, and asking for help can feel like a total personal failure. It's this weight you've been carrying since before you even knew it was heavy.
So next up, let's talk about the middle child, who always gets stereotyped as the overlooked one. But what if being overlooked wasn't actually a problem? What if it was really a highly specialized form of training? See, in those early human groups, survival literally depended on sticking together. So researchers have a name for the person who stopped the group from fracturing: the coalition keeper. This person wasn't the leader, but the diplomat, the one who could see every angle and negotiate peace. And that role, it naturally fell to the middle child, who, from a super young age, had to navigate the needs of an older sibling and the demands of a younger one. And this training forges a really unique set of skills. Middle children, we're talking people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Martin Luther King Jr., tend to be more loyal, incredibly adaptable, and they build these huge social networks. They become stealth leaders who can shape a room from within rather than commanding it from the front. The challenge, though, well, when you're an expert at seeing every single side of an issue, choosing just one can feel impossible, and that can lead to indecisiveness and sometimes a kind of vague sense of who you even are.
And finally, we get to the last to arrive. By the time the youngest child shows up on the scene, the whole game has changed. All that panic and inexperience that shaped their older siblings, it's been replaced by a sense of calm. They're literally born into a system that's already up and running.
This is where this really cool human survival strategy comes into play. It's called cooperative breeding. It's just a scientific term for raising kids with a whole village of caregivers: parents, aunts, uncles, and, most importantly, older siblings.
So the youngest child gets the benefit of all these different teachers who've already mapped out the world. They get all the wisdom without having to make the mistakes themselves. This kind of environment creates a totally different set of advantages. Youngest children are way more likely to be risk takers. You see them showing up in creative fields like acting and comedy at much higher rates. Because they can't win through size or strength, they become masters of charm, influence, and persuasion. The flip side, they often have to work a lot harder to be taken seriously, and they have to deliberately build the internal discipline that wasn't really forced on them when they were kids. Okay, so what does all this mean for you right now? It means that for thousands of years, your place in the family wasn't some personality quiz. It was your job description for survival. So let's just quickly run through those ancient roles again. We saw how the firstborn and, the only child, they acted as the guardian. The middle was the peacemaker. The youngest was the risk-taker. And even twins, who we talked about at the beginning, they had this built-in alliance from day one. Each one of these roles built real skills and patterns that are probably still running inside you today. Every single one of these positions gave you a genuine gift, and every single one handed you a cost. But here is the most important thing to take away from all of this. These patterns, these deep biological inheritances, they absolutely shaped you. But they do not have to own you. The people who understand where they started are the ones who truly get to choose where they go next. See, understanding the pattern is the key to freedom from it. You can choose to lean into the incredible strengths it gave you, or you can choose to consciously work on the challenges it created. The pattern isn't your destiny. It's just your starting point. So the only real question left is, now that you can see it, what are you going to choose to do with it?